Hello everyone, welcome back to Saddle Up Shooting. I'm Dave Strohmeyer, your host. I hope I have a good video for you today. I'm going to be shooting two different rifles, two different cartridges that are fairly new in the world of hunting. According to a recent poll put up by a famous magazine hunting campaign, 41% of hunters use an AR-15 MSR type of platform for hunting now. That's up from 25% from 2014. So it's fast growing in popularity. Today I'm going to be using two of those cartridges that are designed from all the way down to varmints, clear up to deer in these very short, efficient cases. One made in 2005, that's the 6.8 SPC, and another that was made in 2010 and probably a little bit more popular is the 6.5 Grendel. Now, both of these rifles can shoot anywhere from a 90 grain up to a 140 grain bullet, and both of them have similar ballistics, but I'll go over the basic differences as we get along in shooting here. Okay folks, the target is set up at 100 yards. Let's go ahead and get to shooting and explaining. See you soon. Okay, first up on the bench is my 6.5 Grendel. It is a Bear Creek Arsenal 24-inch barrel, complete upper. I've not modified it, but I've added certain accoutrements to it. A Luth AR MBA3 to have a more adjustable, comfortable stock situation. It's got a nice trigger in it. It is a Rise Armament R140, set at about 3.5 pounds, which is a good weight for hunting. I have a 5 by 25 by 50, 5 by 27 by 50 first focal plane scope on here that I've had for about 5 years now, and it served me pretty well, made by O-Hunt, Chinesium. Alright, so we are going to shoot the 90 grain Spear TNT. Now again, look at this little bitty cartridge. I'll show you up here. This little bitty cartridge puts out a tremendous amount of energy, enough to take a deer-sized game out to about 300 yards, maybe 350, and still have that 1,000 foot-pounds of energy for a 120 grain bullet. For a 90 grain bullet, obviously that would drop off quite a bit less, but that's the 90 grain is set up for varmint size, you know, coyote on down. And I have killed quite a few critters with this bullet, and it's generally very accurate. Now I don't know if the last time I sighted in this rifle was with the 90 grain, so these little 3-inch targets might be a little bit off, but we're going to be checking that out. Now in 2010, this cartridge was developed, and it has sort of taken the world by storm. For people that shot a 5.56 up to a 75, 80 grain bullet, well, that's where this one starts. This one starts at a 90 grain bullet and goes up and has that energy and the speed necessary to go ahead and take out your target. With these 90 grains, I'm at 2950 or a little bit higher, sometimes over 3,000 feet per second, depending on the powder that I use. Now these particular ones are loaded with Power Pro varmint, and as I've said in previous videos, Power Pro varmint's been discontinued. So I have to find a different powder for these rounds. So I'm going to be shooting them up today. So let's go ahead and turn on the camera down there. Let's shoot the first three and let's see where they hit, and I'll give you a little bit more particulars as we go on. See you soon. All right, here we go. First three. Get everything set up. I always do for these videos, cold bore, clean bore, because that's what you're likely up against on your first shots when you're hunting. So I want to know where that first shot goes. That might be the only shot I get. Get the parallax correct. That looks good. Safety. Eyes on, ears in. It looks low and just out of the circle. Low and just out of the circle. Low and just out of the circle. But it looks to be a pretty good group. Now I'm not going to adjust my scope for the next 3 shots because I think that I probably had the scope sighted in for the 120s for deer size game and up. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and follow up with 3 more shots just to see if there's a consistency there for you and for your benefit. But according to my box, with Power Pro Varmint, my speed is 2942, almost 3,000 feet per second. All right, here we go. 3 more. Target just above the last one I shot. Pretty consistent. Okay, a little bit bigger group, but I think that last shot probably could have been on me. I rushed a little bit because this is a video and I don't want to waste your time. All right, so let's go ahead and change over to the next rifle, the 6.8 SPC. Be right back. Okay, up on the bench now is my 6.8 SPC2. Now, just like the Grendel, the bullet range is almost the same. You can go from an 85 grain all the way up to 140 grain possible. The 6.8 SPC2 has just a little bit more power, and that probably is due to the case size. I'll show you the 2 cases side by side here so that you can see it. The 6.8 SPC came to the market earlier than the 6.5 Grendel. 2005, it was developed by Remington for the military. The military was looking for a more long-range, more power type of bullet range than the 5.56 could provide. Remington kind of messed it up a little bit with their chamber dimensions, so the velocity wasn't what the military wanted. But Remington stepped up to the plate and created the SPC2, which was a longer chamber and a different type of situation to where you could load more powder and get the velocity that was needed. The Grendel had the same thing happen. When they first started, theirs was a mistake, and they came out with the, if you look and you buy now, it'll say 6.5 Grendel Type 2. So in both cases, they sort of fixed the problems. Not really problems, but to give you a little bit more oomph and a little bit more versatility out of the individual cartridges. Okay, so I'm going to be shooting this 90 grain Spear TNT in both rifles. Okay, now the difference is this rifle, the specs on this rifle is, this is my Aero Precision M4E1, and it only has a 20-inch barrel, where the Grendel had a 24-inch barrel. Now keep that in mind, because this is one of the very positive aspects of the 6.8 SPC2, is that it does not lose as much velocity with a shorter barrel. As a matter of fact, the Texas pig hunters swear by the 16 to 18 inch, and in some cases pistol length cartridges for their hunting purposes, because you don't lose a lot of velocity like you would with other types of cartridges. Alright, so let's go ahead and see how this shoots. Same story applies. I don't know what bullet weight the last bullet that I tested in here was, so we'll just see where it hits. Okay, let me go turn on the camera down there, make sure it's on. Be right back. Now this rifle has a little bit more powerful scope on it. It is a 5x27 but by 56 on my objective up here. So it gives a real clear picture. So those of you who are on a budget, go ahead and look up the O-Hunt scope line out of China. They also sell them on both eBay and Amazon. I think scope is right around $200 is what I paid. It comes with rings and everything, so as far as I'm concerned, the scope should never cost more than your rifle. I know that puts me at odds with a lot of people, but that's just my personal opinion. Alright, let's go ahead and get this thing ready. Get the parallax correct. Wow, parallax needs a lot of correction on 100 yards. Oh, not much. Okay, here we go. Woo! Oh, that's pretty nice. All right, not to outdo this 6.5 Grendel, but let's go ahead and shoot 3 more shots just to be equal. Be the target right above the last one I shot. Now the target difference, folks, was probably because this rifle was sighted in for the 90 grain bullets, because I shoot 3 different 90 grain bullets in the 6.8. I shoot not only these 90 grain TNTs, but the world famous in my mind, the Spear Gold Dot, which is definitely a deer hunting bullet. It is a bonded bullet. All right. So let's go ahead and wrap this up, take a look at the target, and let's talk some more. See you soon. Okay, let's take a look at this target. Over here is the 6.5 Grendel with the 90 grain Spear TNT. Over here is the 6.8 SPC2 90 grain Spear TNT. Alright, so again, I asked you not to pay attention to the shot placement because of what I had probably sighted the rifle in previously. But that's a 1/2 inch group there on the first 3, and then opened up to about a 1 inch group there on the second 3. I probably rushed it, or at least you could probably deduce that maybe the barrel warmed up and needed to cool down some. Because over here I had almost a repeated situation. 1/2 inch group with the SPC2, and it opened up to about a 1 inch on the last 3. The difference is $29.85 with a 20-inch barrel, $29.42 with a 24-inch barrel. So whether or not you should use a 6.8 SPC2 or a 6.5 Grendel is basically a toss-up. The benefits to the Grendel would be you have more bullet options that you can readily get available because of the popularity of the 6.5 Creedmoor. The SPC2, well, that's a .270 caliber bullet, and it's kind of lacking a little bit in terms of availability of bullet choices, definitely of loaded ammunition. But you do get a little bit more with a shorter barrel, so keep that in mind. And you get a little bit higher BC because of the .277 bullet in this particular caliber. Okay, folks, well, that'll do it for this video. If you enjoyed it, give me a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe. Leave a comment if you will. Check your subscriptions, please. But no matter what, God bless you all. See you again next time. Goodbye.